So yesterday, I was explaining to someone what a shift is and how what we want to intend to shift into us or to the place of where we are vibrating at this new consciousness frequency that we intended. That usually the place that we want to shift to or bring the shift to us is in contradiction to what and who we are. For example, if I'm controlling and I would like to be more relaxed, they are at odds with each other. So my collapsed reality, so the one that I am living, will have a stronger influence in my consciousness than the new. So if you think of plants, as established plant will be stronger, and a new sapling with very soft leaves needs a little nurturing. Okay. So that's one aspect. And then the other is, I do believe it's true that I am an infinite being with infinite possibilities, and that I could choose and land and collapse a new reality into my awareness. There's a feeling, it's like, if it's really important, I can't, or I can do it for other people, not for myself. It is quite a delicate, this thing, I was going to say difficult, but delicate procedure. Okay, so the idea is to shift into the reality that can thrive with the solar flares. Keep on incrementing as we are solar beings, solar panels. Hmm. So if you were to run a race, a physical race, like cycle, run, or whatever, you would train for it, and then you would rest. You would understand that you need periods of recuperation. Yet somehow we don't do the same with our spiritual body. We are now in a race, the equivalent of, and rest can look like to some people like laziness. It could be reading a book, sitting by a fire. It could be having an extra lay-in, or because from an observation, it could be that you are not doing anything. Everything is falling into place. Let's look at the conditioning of someone who's always pushing to grow, to expand, to find new frontiers within themselves. And the identity of this being that is busy and works on themselves and does shadow work and consciousness work. So what they're asking is create the shift and then allow yourself to rest in that new shift. Really see if you can create new roots. So the analogy is if each time you shift, it's like an operation. And even though you haven't exerted yourself, you haven't been running, the operation will take energy from your system for recuperation. So it is sometimes better to meditate instead of intending a new creation. There we go. So bring into the active experience your intended reality, one of the last ones you've been intending, whether that's a painless experience or shifting into different state of consciousness. So when we do the shift, the last stage is to pull through and up this new webbing. So the new creation, but really weave it into your consciousness. Yeah. Into every aspect of your consciousness. Okay, so the shift that we are intending is actually quite terrifying to the consciousness because it's something different. Even though it sounds nice, it's a better state. So it's in a position. There we go. So course, you're intending it for a more comfortable and a happier, a nicer outcome. So this is where can we get unstuck from the present reality? All the investment, the conditioning, the maybe approval I get for a certain way of living, even if it's suffering. I might get compassion if I'm suffering. So anything, whatever it is, understanding that the shift is for a better outcome. Can I let go? So it's as if you pull up your anchor, go to different location and drop your anchor. There we go. Trust in the process. There we go. Allow me to speak to your inner being, the awakened one, the true. Self. Allow the love and the compassion for the self to be present. Allow the shifting to be an enjoyable procedure. The ones we create for ourselves, but also the solar flares, just the rising of the energy. Allow the transition to be pleasant. Oh, I asked for an analogy. So imagine a transition from state A to state B. I was looking at an airplane, and unless you're going first class, it's not very pleasant. So they said, no, it's like a cruise. Also, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but the cruise is you are literally traveling, but it's as if you were living on this cruise, enjoying the sunshine or the places where you stop off at. So it's allow a shift to be like a cruise. So they're saying just take a little bit of stubbornness out. Not that some people are stubborn. I might be. But it's that resistance, that lock-in. Just allow it to be witnessed, to understand that you are resisting. So here, when I first arrived, the natives, the Mapuches, the indigenous people, wouldn't swim. It was not their habit. Water was for washing and maybe refreshing and maybe sit in a little bit of the lake, but they'd never seen anyone swim. So when the area got more populated, they saw people swimming and they said, what a novel idea. So imagine you're being invited as it were to swim. There's this water around you. You've never thought of swimming in it, just drinking it or washing or refreshing. But there's a whole different ability. And this is not that long ago. This is 36, 37 years ago. But because you haven't experienced it, because you haven't seen it within yourself, allow the energy to invite you. That would be allow the flares to invite you forward. It's a great idea. Allow the concept to be invited forward, to take hold in your consciousness. It's as if you are invited to be upgraded. Rest. Mm. Okay, allow that seed to start to germinate in your consciousness, that especially for the doers and the busybodies, that resting from now on is building your spiritual body. It is growing your consciousness. Just remember this: if you feel tired, more tired than normal, and you push yourself more because you have to do stuff, just remember, maybe a 10-15 minute break, or do something different, sing or breathe consciously, whatever, just to give it room. So the analogy of the plant is, they said, it's actually great because we are a living organism that responds to the sun. Of course, the cycle of spring and winter is, we will have spring and winter in a day. So it's like a spurt and then rest and regrowth, and a spurt and then maybe something for 2 or 3 weeks, nothing, and then again. But it will be ongoing. Okay. Okay. Deep breath in and come on back.